Hi, my name is Mr. Miller, and I teach eighth grade U.S. history. And this is my 14th year teaching. My first year at Avondale, but I taught the last 13 years in Northern California. And I figured I'd share my syllabus with you. This should have gone home with students today, the day that I'm recording it on the 26th. And there's a portion to sign it at the end. And I'll kind of scroll down here and show you. If they get you guys to sign these and they bring it back, then they can get some extra credit for it. And it's just kind of a way for me to try and get them to communicate to you as parents, kind of like what's going on in the class, what the class looks like, what the expectations are, and things like that. So I'll just kind of give you a brief overview of it. And so here you go. Up at the top, I have my contact information. So I'm highlighting here my email because that is the best way to get a hold of me, the most consistent way. I check it pretty often. So if you ever have any questions, anything about grading, anything about an assignment or homework or whatever, feel free to shoot an email. Also, my phone and extension is up here too. This top part says content, and this is basically just saying that we do U.S. history up through Reconstruction. So about the 1870s, 1880s is pretty much, I guess, probably about as far as we're going to get. But that covers everything that should be in, according to the eighth grade history standards. Materials, I have a bunch of stuff on here, but really the big one is the folder. So they need to have a folder that has a way to keep track of their work throughout the week. And it has to be something that's specific just for history. So I'm not that worried about like what type of folder it is, as long as it's only used just for history class. That way they can turn it in and it doesn't like mess them up for other classes, you know? So as long as they have a folder that can hold their work, then they should be good to go. Pretty much everything else is on like another class list or something. So it's just basic stuff like pencils, ink pens, a red ink pen, highlighters, colored pencils, scissors, and a glue stick. And I have those materials in class, but with COVID restrictions, like I'd have to, wipe them down in between each class. So the more stuff that students bring for themselves, the better and the safer. For grading, I put here, all work is graded on a weighted point system. 75% of students' grades will come from tests, quizzes, and projects, so summative assessment, and 25% will come from classwork and homework, so formative assessment. So if you ever see those two terms used, it's the school grading policy. So if you ever see those two terms, that's what those mean. And so yeah, so 75% it's weighted pretty heavily on tests, quizzes, and projects. For tests, I always allow students to take one retake, and the retake can't hurt their grade, but they do have to do it on their own time. So I do encourage students to take retakes, even if their grade is solid, because it doesn't hurt to try and bump it up a bit. Grades will be updated weekly in MyStar, our online gradebook. So by each Monday morning, they'll have their grades from the week before updated. And the grading scale for me is pretty standard. It's just anything in the 90s is an A, anything in the 80s is a B, anything in the 70s is a C, 60s is a D, and anything below 59 is an F. And I round up at 0.5. So if they end up with like, an 89.5, that goes up to an A. Folders, I already kind of talked about that. I'll have some in class. So if like students, just can't get one, then I'll make sure that they're taken care of. Homework will consist of short readings with short answer questions. There will typically be 1 or 2 homework assignments per week. These will be assigned on the first day of the week and will be due each Friday. And students should write down their homework assignments in their agendas. So a good way to track their progress is just to check their agenda every day, and or at least weekly or whatever. And on Mondays or whatever the first day of the week is, they should have their homework for my class written next to social studies on that date. And then homework is always due on Fridays. So hopefully that'll be easy to keep track of. Late work. Late work is accepted until the end of the current unit by the day of the unit test, but it will be assessed a 25% penalty. So in other words, if they do something that's like fantastic, the assignment's perfect. If it's late, the highest they can get would be a C at that point. In the case of an absence, students have the amount of days that they were absent to turn in the work for full credit. Absent work and extra copies can be found in the extras folder near the door. It's the student's responsibility to take copies of work that they have missed. I try to remind them as well as I can, whenever I think about it. If a student's been absent, I tell them, hey, make sure you grab the stuff from yesterday. But ultimately it's their responsibility to grab those. And then I just put down here a section for parents. A good way to monitor your child's progress is to check MyStar, so check their online grades. Their agenda will be updated weekly, or I'm sorry, their grade will be updated weekly. Also checking their agendas, Google Classroom work, their folders are good ways to check their progress. I recommend asking students to explain their work while you do this, as this will help them reflect on their learning. And if you'd like more information, just, don't hesitate to contact me anytime. Yeah, so that's it. That's pretty much the basics of the class. Other expectations, just behavior wise, they've been really good so far. So as long as they keep doing what they're doing, they should be good. And I'd just like to encourage you guys to on Tuesday night, we're going to have a Zoom question and answer kind of series thing where you can check in at any time with any of your students, teachers, and just ask any questions that you might have about the syllabus or about the class in general. So I hope to see you there. All right, thanks.